Action!
Hello.
Hello.
How's it going?
Oh, it is going well. How are you today?
Groovy. My name's Kevin Schoen, and this is the interview on MOFUR Live. Today we have with us Mark Mathews. I don't know much about him other than he's 33. Is that correct? 33?
That's correct. I'm
and
33 years
he's
old.
a Lansing original.
Yes, born in Lansing.
Born and bred. Did you live your whole life in Lansing?
For the most part, about 30 years of my life I've spent in Lansing.
Okay.
A little bit of traveling around, like not a whole lot.
Where to, though?
I've been to the West Coast. I lived in Olympia, Washington for a little bit. Attended the Evergreen State College before dropping out and coming back here. And I traveled around, drove and did a cross-country road trip for a month or two where we just were on the road and driving around and saw the country that way. So it's, that's basically how I've been around. But for the most part, lived in Lansing, lived in Hazlet for the last couple of years.
Oh, have you? Okay.
And then I'm actually out in Perry now.
Perry.
So
okay.
Yeah.
So Perry's a little kind of a smaller town.
It is. I grew up in Lansing as kind of like a more urban setting, and I have really wanted to get out into become a farmer. I want to be really into back to the earth, and I've done a lot of urban gardening in Lansing for several years and really honed my skills. So this year we're going to try to do a little bit more scaled up stuff. We're going to plant some potatoes and amaranth and some other really good staple foods, and we're actually trying to start a food co-op to bring that food from Perry back into Lansing.
Okay.
So, to eliminate some of the food desert issues. Actually over in in the north side where some of the other people that like Larry, who is a frequent visitor on this show, I guess. But
so amaranth, what is that?
Amaranth is an ancient grain. It's kind of similar to a wheat. It grows in a stocky bud. It produces a seed that is similar to. It's like a tiny popcorn.
Oh, okay.
So it's just a tiny seed that it can be popped. It can be used to make grains and bread. It has a really high protein profile.
Yep.
It's very, very nutrient-dense food, so it can be a really good protein replacement for just non-meat diet.
So how much land do you have out there, roughly?
I'd say it's about 2 acres. It's not a whole lot, but we're going to be working with aquaponics and different...
Aquaponics? You're going to be, growing shrimp or something?
Shrimp, fish, other ducks. Ducks are going to be one of our main things. That we have the Cayuga duck, which is born in the Cayuga, New York area, and was a domesticated duck that it produces a grayish egg rather than a white egg, and once or twice a season it'll actually produce a pure black shelled egg.
Oh, really?
So, and duck eggs actually have a better fat profile, better, more. I think it's omega fatty acids in the eggs because of their aquatic fowl, and they just have more fat, just kind of like how duck meat has, a higher fat content. So
do you have a pond or anything?
I just bought a backhoe last year, a small backhoe. So I was digging a pond last fall, and we're gonna finish that up. I've got a small pool as well that we're going to set up as so we'll have a few different spots and areas, and we're going to continue excavating the entire area and building out our permaculture and maker space. So it's supposed to be one part food production, one part energy production, and durable goods and services.
Okay. So, interesting. Perry, then. Yeah. Is that near Owasso?
Yeah, it actually is. It's halfway between here in where we're in Hazlet and Owasso. If you were to just head down M78, you eventually get to Perry.
Okay.
So.
Cool. Awesome. Well, that sounds interesting.
Sure.
So I hear you're into Bitcoin as well.
Yeah, I'm into all of the different cryptocurrencies. I have been collecting and trading and studying Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies for a little over a year. That's what last year I really got into it pretty heavily and was spending several hours a day, like just reading anything and everything that I could. It's kind of a lot to get into, but yeah.
What's your thoughts about cryptocurrencies in general and Bitcoin and kind of the libertarianist kind of idea of independence from government with your money?
Yeah, I definitely take a laissez-faire approach to my economics, and I think that it's really the future of where, especially Bitcoin as being the first sovereign global currency that's owned by the people that use it, and giving those people the power to directly interact on a mercantile basis goes back to the very beginnings of our civilization, because as long as there's been a merchant class, like the yardstick of like that measurement like comes from having a middleman to decide what is fair between two different parties. And the paradigm shift that occurs when you have one person being able to directly contract and pay and agree on a venture without anyone else telling, permissionless processes of innovation as well. It changes a lot of scopes.
So your feeling is that it will allow more direct transaction to transactions because it's not a middleman, such as like Visa, or a banking institution, or a government regulator who regulates the banks.
Yeah.
Right? So
that argument can be made.
Right. Interesting. And what do you think about the volatility in the market of the value of Bitcoin in comparison to traditional currencies such as the U.S. dollar?
Well, traditionally, the U.S. currency is long overdue for death. Monetary currencies in general only last about 50 years. And our Federal Reserve System is like pushing a little over 100 now, I think, is about where it's at. So it's twice as long overdue for death as... And so we're just waiting to see what the next iteration of what can take its place. And what's interesting about the cryptocurrencies is not just Bitcoin, it's not just Ethereum or Litecoin, it's thousands of different ideas and processes are all competing and evolving and trying to leapfrog each other to become this system. And when we get there, it's not going to be just any one of these cryptocurrencies, but an entire network of saying this money and this tracking system is kind of for this process, and this it all comes down to what's being called Web 3.0. That it's the third iteration of the internet, where we actually integrate our payment system directly into the internet, and that the internet becomes a paywall in itself, that you just can access anything. In one of the interesting, to jump rails a little bit, one of the interesting projects that's being worked on the Ethereum blockchain is called Pillar, which uses the semantic web to pull information from the ether, basically, because it's Ethereum. But you pull information instead of having it pushed in any direction, so everyone is in charge of having their own personal data locker that has the keys to all their cryptographic information that's on the web and on the network, but can only be accessed by those people that have the specific private keys and give you access. So instead of being bombarded with all these advertisements, you can just...
Now, what do you think about, like, say, for example, the theoretical creator of Bitcoin? What is his name?
Satoshi Nakamoto.
Yeah, Satoshi Nakamoto. Theoretically a Japanese name, but perhaps not Japanese. And somehow he creates this Bitcoin thing, but he kept a few for himself, right? In a way, it's kind of interesting. Like, he created a transportable medium, but he also got a few bill out of that deal.
Well,
whoever, if he actually exists.
Yeah, and that's
or who he actually is.
I haven't read up lately on any of the latest of the interesting conspiracies, but there's there are tons of different takes on what Charlie, I didn't I say that? I swear, I think I told somebody that like the other.
I started looking it up. I think it might have been you.
Yeah, I think that might have been one of my random ramblings, but it's like no. But if Charlie Lee actually did create Bitcoin, and if he was Satoshi Nakamoto, then he could have piggybacked and made Litecoin to like basically fix the things that like in the original white paper, like. There is a connection between Charlie Lee and Satoshi. Like they have to have at least somehow interacted in some way. So Charlie Lee knows more than what he's letting on, but he's also very sneaky. So like if you ever watch his interviews, he's very sneaky. Like he kind of plays it low key and like acts like he's just very shy. But I don't think he is. I think that he's a mastermind.
You think he's the mastermind?
Either that or there's people that think it was Alan Greenspan because Alan Greenspan created
the former Fed chairman. Yeah.
Yes, created all of the monetary digital banking systems back in the 70s and was actually, aside from Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, was one of the main endorsers of Apple computers and was like, he was like the poster child of Apple computers in like the 70s and 80s.
Now, what do you think about the whole idea, the at the root of government regulation versus libertarianism? Like could the government just regulate this stuff out of existence, impair its transfer to for example, like if you get your computer hacked and they jailbox the hard drive or encrypt it, and the common ransomware is Bitcoin. Pay us in Bitcoin,
right?
Because you can't really track the true owner of the Bitcoin, although you can track each transaction. That's the interesting thing about...
that's the thing about Bitcoin is that nobody owns the Bitcoin. You just have a specific spot in the ledger that says that
you do. Yeah, you do own it. Interesting. So Ethereum, what do you think about Ethereum in comparison to Bitcoin?
I really like Ethereum. I was kind of early, not too early on the Ethereum bandwagon, but I got into Ethereum when it was like sitting around the $10 range, and today it's around the $1,000 range. So it's like 100-fold increase over the last year. So as far as other people coming on to realize the same thing is kind of the network effect that Bitcoin had kind of set up and got primed for over the last several years that it took for people to like kind of accept this idea and wrap their minds around cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. But Ethereum is a Turing-complete programming language that is based in what's called Solidity.
Programming language in a way.
That can do more than just transact, but can create situations for a transaction. And the beauty of that is that we can use the blockchain, which is the shared ledger that not everyone, but all of the people that are a part of maintaining the network keep an identical copy that we can store interesting bits of conditional situations on the blockchain of if this happens, then this can happen. Like if I bring you food, then you release funds to my account to eliminates a lot of legalese and law from financial contracts because it's just built into the agreement from the start. And one of the interesting things about what I'm really looking forward to Ethereum smart contracts is really getting rid of the just-in-time credit system that you have people based on debt that from, if you take food as an example of like farm to table, you have farmers taking out debt to be able to grow crops, to sell them to a merchant. Those merchants have to have a extra debt in like their system to be able to pass it on to the next, like either the final consumer.
Purchase inventory and then transact inventory.
And that overhead, instead of just sharing, like if you have a contiguous blockchain of like a chain of custody of like where the food comes from to where it's going, then ultimately that final person of wherever the food ends up can pay that original person like very easily by just fulfilling that contract of like wherever it gets to, that money can flow back up to where it needs to instead of like being congested and all of these like micro nodes. It's increases the velocity of money, which the volatility of that we really see of it just going up and down a lot. And that will most likely smooth out over time. Right now we're just coming out of what's known as the innovator stage into the early adopter stage of moving from approximately 1% of the population knowing and understanding or just hearing about what cryptocurrencies are to approximately 1 to 3%.
Yep.
Sorry.
So have you looked into mining at all and that type of aspect of
Yeah, I've done a little bit of mining. It's just I actually am a great fan of Mountain Dew, and I have my computer set up to mine Ethereum for my Mountain Dew fund. It's just my own little personal, crypto joke of like, my computer is like literally like creating the funds for me to go to the store and like just have my preferred beverage, like, so. And that's so it's just when my graphics card for my computer, like just gaming, I just have one simple graphics card for mining. It's just not a lot, but it's enough to like just get your feet wet and just really play around with it for like a small investment. And the funny thing about like large mining rigs is if someone were to invest in the cryptocurrency that itself, it would most likely be a larger return on investment than if they
investing in equipment to do mining.
But there is a capital gain in getting the equipment because the equipment has value on top of the crypto that's mined. So there's again, that would be another topic that we could go for like a long time on.
Well, I think what's interesting is like, for example, to some extent, you're exchanging electricity for the purchase of cryptocurrency credits, so to speak, right? And in between is a cryptographic machine with video cards that's running a series of calculations, right? So really, let's boil it down.
Well, I just, since you went there, like to really boil it down is that what we're doing is we're taking electricity and we're turning it into heat, like because that's ultimately the thermodynamic exchange. That we're in the process, we're getting this calculation out of it. But as far as like
all electricity eventually becomes
from
heat.
A global like type 1 civilization on the Kardashev scale of humanity managing both its electricity and thermal output. That's really where I'm interested to see like cryptocurrency and other or mass computing go to of that code generation process, because until we get those two things in check, then like the ledger is just kind of like our crutches for like learning to be like adult humans, like that of like being able to establish a sort of civilization that's Star Trek style, that's like where we just have replicators and all the things that we basically need to have our basic survival needs met, and then go around too.
Not to get too much off subject.
Sorry,
you brought us some
art
art
all the time. Art?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I guess you could call it art. Let's see here.
Well, or at least an interesting object.
Yeah, I'm somewhat of a maker. I don't know. This was plastic bags, like just
how many?
I'd probably say this was around. I kind of lost count because I just kept on adding to them as, but probably around like 20 bags, like all compacted and melted at 380 degrees in just your standard conventional oven.
Oh, okay.
Just with a little bit of parchment paper, baker's parchment paper that will keep it from sticking to your pans and ruining your pots and pans. So don't have to have mom get mad at you at home there, kids.
Yep.
But I'm really into different cosplaying and role playing, and so this is just an example of like making something that's both really simple. And,
what's your cosplay character? Or what is your cosplay style? Like, are you a furry or something like that?
You know,
You're going furry, aren't you?
You know, it's
is this salacious? Something that's not appropriate for?
Well, it's just that's a really interesting question, and
I just want to know: are we going to break any like FCC rules on our internet stream?
There's
like,
an FCC.
It's going to be so bad. We're going to break some FCC rules.
No.
Okay.
You know, I'm getting ready for con this spring, Shudo-Con in Lansing.
Shudo-Con, okay, yeah.
Which is happening in about 3 more weeks. I think it's like the first week in March.
Okay.
And I haven't quite decided on what my costume is going to be or what I'm going to play, but I have a bunch of materials, and I'm going to be working on that this week. So.
Tell me about your childhood.
Oh my God!
I mean, we're gonna go deep.
Okay. Well, you asked. Well, I was born in Lansing, like I said. I think earlier before we were on camera, I mentioned that I consider myself an autodidactic polymath, which just means that I'm a self-taught, eager mind and learner, and have studied many topics and subjects, and I've just been curious from the time that I was very young. Very independent from my family, and kind of raised myself. So.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of stuck to myself a lot. Yeah.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, okay, well, so you are kind of a free spirit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
From a young age.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. And I heard you've been hibernating. Is this true?
Yeah, I have.
Tell me about your hibernation.
Oh, it's been great. I
wanted in great detail.
Okay, great detail on my hibernation. Yeah, I'm actually just starting to wake up from that said hibernation. Over winter, I find that it might be a combination of just the cold, and I have some issues with pain and in the cold, and get more sedentary and just less likely to move around a little bit. Similar to even other animals in nature. But the point is, winter is all about just going internal and really just getting back to yourself and experiencing that if you think of summer and winter as being a dichotomy of the two extremes that where we go and get outside of ourselves.
So what do you do in your hibernation? Are you just super chill and you kind of hang out inside and you don't really get outside a lot, or what are we talking about?
Yeah, just really kind of manufacturing some sort of cave of enclosed space, usually to go psychologically it'd be womb space of just some kind of protected area that would allow you to just feel secure. Probably lots of fluffy, lots of things. I've got a stuffed triceratops that's been a good hibernating companion.
Yeah.
So it's been a good pillow, and
so you're ready for the birth.
Yeah.
Of the birth.
Yeah.
Out of your
spring.
hibernation, dude. I mean, it was 55 today or something crazy like that. It's getting warm. It's rainy out. It's the snow is melting.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And so
you can definitely feel it. Been doing some spring cleaning over the last couple of days, and been doing steam tent treatments of just really getting my pores clearing, and I feel very clear.
Steam tent, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you put yourself in a tent, and then you hook it up to a steamer of some sort. Mm-hmm. And then you kind of get it warm and steamy in there, and then you're sweating it out, kind of.
Sure. And then you can add different herbal additives to the steam bath. In Sanskrit, I believe I might have the pronunciation wrong, but it's called pranayana kama, which means to basically create a steam oil bath that creates rapid detox. It's been practiced by humans for some 5,000 years. So I'm just using electricity to
Instead
reproduce
of
the same
whatever
thing
else
instead
they
of
use,
like,
like
you know, well,
firewood and
yeah, and that is the goal eventually, to have like a larger steam room and sauna set up in my little farm property that I have going.
Oh, okay.
As a retreat for people to be able to come and.
You're gonna set up a retreat too?
Yeah, well, this is supposed to be kind of like a commune where we're going to be working with some
now,
future.
Who is there with you? Is that an inappropriate question to ask?
Yeah,
Or
it belongs to my friend Brick.
Brick,
Yeah,
as in
Brick.
okay, as in Brick. Okay.
He's just Brick. He's the guy who it's his land.
Uh huh.
It's a log brick acres, I guess was what our code name would be.
Okay, and Brick was like, dude, come on
We
out,
worked together
let's do some
for
farming.
a couple years.
Where'd you work at?
Jets Pizza in Hazlitt, just up the road.
Oh, okay, yep.
Yeah, so.
You know, I know the manager of Jets. He used to live across the street. I forget his name though. How long since you worked there?
Few months.
Oh, a few months. Okay, yep. Cool.
Yeah.
And so, you're on this spiritual journey.
Yeah.
And you're into detoxing in a steam tent right now.
Sure. Yeah.
With
oregano and other herbs and stuff. Like oregano is a really good natural.
Are you
detox.
feeling like you're coming out of your whole like hibernation thing and you're ready to go at it?
You know, I really do. I feel like I'm ready to just hit the ground running. I've been a lot of what I've been doing is just preparing myself and like stealing myself away to like, you know, like really get a lot of things done this spring, because what we've been working on, like, it's not just me as a collective of people in Lansing.
Yep.
We've been working to create a new model for how economics can work, and it's based on both the sharing economy and gift economy, and just really trying to remove the barriers to entry of different skills and tradecraft that we have. Time, talent, and tools are our three things that everyone has a certain level or amount of, and by working with each other and sharing our tools and our talents, and we all have the same amount of time to do those two things, we can enrich our surroundings and create community wealth and sovereign wealth. So
this is a kind of a loose federation, a cooperative.
Yes.
That you're part of. Is there a name to the group at all, or is it just?
Yeah. Well, we were branded under the Mid-Michigan Time Bank for a while,
okay.
like, which have that's kind of how I know a few other people that you know as well in like Lansing area. Our latest and greatest name that I think we were working out was the Mid-Michigan Energy Cooperative, because we're trying to create renewable energy sources and renewable farming techniques and technology. And we were working with the East Lansing Food Co-op for a little while, trying to get them relocated to Lansing from where they had closed down, where Whole Foods, I don't know if people watching, or if there are people watching, know the story about Whole Foods moved in across the street from our local food co-op and put them out of business. So, cool. Good job.
Well, they're apparently successfully serving a market of some sorts, I would guess.
Yeah, but no, and it's neither here nor there. But we are trying to get a local co-op going again, because it's really sad that the capital city of Michigan doesn't have a food co-op. Like, we just don't have one.
Yep. Well, the East Lansing one was the only one I think we had for a while. Yep. And
they're kind of in like kind of a layover right now. They're trying to get things set up, but we'll see.
Okay.
But it's really about like my main goal and plan is about just creating micro plots of just similar to like Rooster Square, of like using that as a place to create permaculture.
Have you been out there lately?
Not this year.
No,
but,
neither have I.
Yeah.
I hear there's trees out there with fruit on them.
There's fruit trees.
There are lots of trees. I've definitely stopped by. I think right at the beginning of winter, like I was there last. But yeah.
Yep. Interesting.
They made it.
They made it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they survived. Interesting. Well, thank you for coming to our show. I really do appreciate it, man. It was great hearing from you.
Thank you.
Mark Mathews. Everybody.
Mark Mathews. We'll have you on back soon.
Well, thanks.
Oh, that's it. It looks cool.
Like with the
Yeah, we'll let you sit. All right.
Our
Let's
heads
make
are
sure we're all three in the camera.
Back up. There we go.
About head. Have to back up all the way.
So I'll go over here. Come on over this way.
You need to come on over. You're too tall, man. You have to sit. You're gonna or scrunch.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There we go.
Add a 1, add a 2.
And a 1, and a 2, and a 3, 4, 5.